Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the New World Order, their plans are moving very rapidly right before us. All this stuff taking place right now with the, what's it called? Biola virus. But I want to read this article to you. Now, this article goes back to 1969. You guys can check it up on the internet. It's called NWO Plans Exposed 1969. They lay out all their plans in this article. I'm not going to read you the whole article. I just want to read you the part where it's talking about population control. Because this is all that they're going for, is total control. But right now, what they're doing is depopulation. Because they want to depopulate the world's population. Because they say there's too many of us on the earth. And so on and so on and so on. It's all lies. That's all that it's about, is lies. It's about their power grab, their control. They even write books on it. They said the future doesn't need us. It'll be more easier to control the world when there's only a few of us left. It goes on and on and on. But anyways, listen to this from 1969. Population control. He was very active with population control groups. The population control movement and population control was really the entry point into Pacific following the indestruction. He said the population is growing too fast. Numbers of people living at any one time on the planet must be what? Eliminated. Or we will run out of space to live. We will outgrow our food supply and will produce the world with our waste. Now look at this. Permission to have babies. Sounds like communist China, doesn't it? People won't be allowed to have babies just because they want. You see this? The end of freedom. No more freedom, people. The end of your freedom. People won't be allowed to have babies just because they want to, or because they are careless. Most families would be limited to some people would be allowed only one, however. Outstanding people might be selected and allowed to have 3, but most people would be allowed to have only 2 babies. That's because the zero population growth rate is 2.1 children per complete family. So something like every 10th family might be allowed the privilege of the 3rd baby. To me, up to this point, the world's population control apparently connected eliminating the number of babies to be born. But this remark about what people would be allowed and then what followed made it quite clear that when you hear population control, that means more than just controlling births. It means control of every aspect of an entire world population. A much broader meaning to that term that I had ever attached to it before hearing this. As you listen and refer back on some of the things you hear, you will begin to recognize how to expect difference with other aspects in terms of controlling human, and it goes on and on. Look at this. Reducing the purpose of sex. And it goes on. University available to all. Like, it just goes on and on. I can't read all this stuff to you guys. It's just too much stuff to read. Well, I'll just read this one last quote. This one last thing here. Because it goes on and on. But I can't read it all. Well, from population control, the natural next step then was sex. He said sex must be separate from reproducing. Sex is too pleasurable and the urges are too strong to expect people to give it up. Look at this. Chemicals in the food, ladies and gentlemen. This is back in 1969, and this is exactly what they're doing today. Henry Kissinger penned in 1973 that we can use food as a weapon. It goes on and on and on. You can see all the quotes of depopulation. It's totally ridiculous. This is not a conspiracy. This is for real. This is what's taking place, and people need to wake up and realize what's taking place. Look at that. Totally sickening. It's crazy. To give up. Chemicals. Look at that. Chemicals in food and in the water supplied to reduce the sex drive are not practical. The surgery then would be not to diminish sex activities, but to increase sex activities, but in such a way that people won't be having babies. Huh. Totally incredible. Because my uncle has a book, okay, that he read already. It's the same guy that did the Da Vinci Code, Dan Brown. The name of the book is called what's it called? Aferno? I forget the name of it. It's by Dan Brown. Aferno. It's about the government laying a death plague out on the world, and they're putting some DNA in people. For what reason? So the people cannot have babies. Isn't that something? And yeah, look what we just read here. Let me read it again. This is just crazy. Diminishing sex activities, but to increase sex activities, but in such a way that people won't be having babies. Now, isn't that funny that so many people today have tried to have babies over and over and over again and again, and they can't? Now, why is that? Because the government's putting stuff in the food and in the water. That's why. It's just sickening. Sickening. It's totally crazy. And they said you're gonna need a special ID to drive. But I want to show you guys something here where they're talking about a cashless society. You're going to need a national ID card. It's crazy. That's what they're bringing in is biometrics. They're bringing in biometrics. But after that, they're saying the card could be lost or stolen. So what are they going to put in? A chip. Everybody's going to have to line up and take a chip. It's totally crazy. Just to stop and think that this stuff is actually happening. Look at this. Limiting access to affordable medical. Look at that. Planning the control over medication. They're going for total control. Eliminating of private doctors. Elimination of private doctors. New difficulties. Okay, hold on. Even the TVs can see. They're talking about TVs that can see you. Look at this. Surprising cancer cures as a means. They already have cures for cancer. It's in the Rockefeller Institution. But yet they don't want to give it to people because they say, leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. And they say man is the man is the cancer. Man is a cancer. Leave room for nature. Look at this. Cancer, he said, we can cure almost every cancer right now. Information is on file in the Rockefeller Institute. If it is ever decided that it should be released, but consider if people stop dying of cancer, how rapidly we would become overpopulated. You may as well die of cancer as of something else. Efforts at cancer treatment would be granted more towards comfort than toward cure. There was some statement that ultimately the cancer cures which were being hidden in the Rockefeller Institute would come to light because independent researchers might bring them out. Despise these efforts to support them, but at least for the time being, letting people die of cancer was a good thing to do because it would show down the problem of overpopulation, which is totally disgusting. Look at this indication: heart attacks as of assassination. They have these special things. Like, it's crazy. They can assassinate people. Like, it's just too much. But hold on, I want to go to that thing there where they're talking about the cashless society. Look at that. Budding all religions, a one world religion. They're going. That's doing it. It's happening. They're doing everything, people. And yeah, this was all prophesied in the Bible. Look at this. So, Ali, if you're watching this, remember that thing the other day that you shared about that stupid lady there changing the Bible? Well, look at this. This is from their own quotes, the New World Order, their plans. Look at this. Changing the Bible through references of key words. Okay, in order to do this, the Bible will be changed. It will be rewritten to fit the new religion. Greatly Key words will be replaced with new words having various shades of meaning. Then the meaning attached to the new world, you see, we're all going into the new world, can be close to the old word. And as time goes on, other shades of meaning of that word can be embraced. And then greatly that word replaced with other words. I don't know if I'm making that clear, but the idea is that everything in Scripture not be rewritten, just key words replaced by other words. The variety in meaning attached to any word can be used as a tool to change the entire meaning of Scripture and therefore make it acceptable to this new religion. Most people won't know the difference, and this was another one of the times where he said, the few who do notice the difference won't be enough to matter. Look at this. The churches will help us. What church will that be? That will be the Catholic Church, right where the false prophet will come out of. But anyways, I want to get into this. More in schools. Look at this. More time in school, but they won't be learning anything. Controlling who has access to information. Schools as the hub of the community. Some books would just disappear from the libraries. I wonder why. Because people have been exposing the government for years. That's why. Look at this. Changing laws. And what's it say in the book of Daniel, chapter 7? He shall intend to change times and laws. It's just incredible. The abuse to create a jungle atmosphere. Look at that. The encouragement to drug abuse to create a jungle environment. They're doing drugs. They're legalizing and everything. This was all laid out. And yet people don't know anything. Oh, it's cool. We should legalize marijuana. Yeah, to make you more stupid. That's exactly what they're doing. Okay, hold on here. Look at this. Crime used to manage society. You guys want to check it out? It's called NWO Plans Exposed 1969. It's an article. Climate of America Industry Pure. Population economics training the social roots. Social change. Sports as a tool of social change. Yeah. Sex and violence included through entertainment. Look at today. Every show is like violence and sex. This was all planned, people. Yeah, look at this. Travel regulations and implantable ID. You're going to need an ID to travel now. Because you're a citizen of the state. Look at that. This would at first be an ID card you could carry on your person. You must show when you are asked for it. It was already planned that later on some sort of device would be developed to be implanted under the skin. That would be coded especially to identify the individual. This eliminates the possibility of false ID and also eliminate the possibility of people saying, well, I lost my ID. The difficulty about these skin implant that ID was stated to be getting mental that would stay in or under the skin without causing. It goes on and on, people. It's crazy. Look at this. Food control. Weather control. Like they have the HARP now. They create earthquakes, tornadoes, everything. You know how people respond, making them do what you don't. Making them do what you want. Mind control. Exactly. It goes on and on and on. I'm just trying to find that thing about the ID and the chip. That was a different one. Look at this. Terrorism. It goes on. Financial control. It's crazy. That's exactly what they're going to be doing with the biometrics coming in. Because they're bringing in biometrics. It's just totally insane. Surveillance. Yeah, right here. Surveillance implants and televisions that watch you. How do you like that? Okay, listen to this. Okay, I'm going to read this because, okay, let me go up to the financial control. Okay, this is going to be a long video. Okay, guys, people need to know this. Okay, financial control. Listen to this. There was a discussion of money and banking. One system was inflation. Infant. You can put an infinite number of zeros after any number and put the decimals points wherever you want as an indication that inflation is a tool of controllers. Money would become phenomenally credit. It was already money is primarily a credit thing, but exchanging of money would be not cash or probable things, but electronic. You see that? Electronic credit. Single. Look at that. Single people would carry money only in very small amounts. For things like chewing gum and candy bars, any publish of any significance amount would be done electronically. Earnings would be electronically entered into your account. It would be a single banking system. Now for that, you need a one world currency. A single banking system, it may have the appearance of being more than one, but ultimately, basically, it would be one single banking system, so that when you got paid, your pay would be entered for you into your account balance, and then when you published anything at the point of publish, it would be discounted from your account balance, and you would actually carry nothing with you. Also, computer records can be kept on whatever it was you published. Of course, it's total control. They want to know everything about us. Publish, so that if you were publishing too much of any practical limit, and some eventual wanted to know what you were doing with your money, they could go back and review your publishes and determine what you were buying. Yeah, they need to know what we're buying. It's crazy. The government wants to run your life. These people want absolute total control. That's why the only thing that's hindering them right now, ladies and gentlemen, from having total control from us is a cashless society. That's why they're pushing so very hard right now, is for a cashless society. That's what they're bringing in, is biometrics. The government said that they're going to force biometrics upon its people. What for? For tracking, linking, tracing, and surveilling. Total control. It's crazy. Now look at this. There was a system that any publish of significant size, like an automo, bicycle, or refrigerator, a radio or television or whatever, might have some sort of identification on it, so it could be traced, so that very quickly anything which was either given away or stolen, whatever authorities would be able to establish who published it and when. Computers would allow this to happen. The ability to save would be greatly cut out. People would just not be able to save any countable degrees of wealth. There was some system of recognizing that wealth represents power, and wealth in the hands of a lot of people is not for the people in charge. So if you save too much, you might be taxed. The more you save, the higher rate of tax on your savings. So your savings really could never get very far. And also, if you begin to show a partner of saving too much, you might have your pay cut. We would say, well, you're saving instead of spending. You really don't need all that money. Yeah, you really don't need all that money, because they want it all. They want everything. That basically, the idea being to prevent people from automatically any wealth which might have long-range influence on the system. The system is the New World Order. Okay, guys, this is what they're talking about, is their New World Order, their paradise that they believe that they're ushering in. It's a lie. It's going to lead up to a 7-year nightmare, the rule of Antichrist, you name it. Okay, on the system, people would be encouraged to use credit, to borrow, and then also be encouraged to ringe on their debt. So they would destroy their own credit. The idea here is that, again, if you're too stupid to handle credit wisely, this gives the authorities the opportunity to come down hard on you. Once you shot your credit, electronic payments instantly would all be based on different kinds of credit cards, which were already in use in 1969 to some extent. Not much as now, but people would have credit cards with the electronic stripe on it. And once they got used to that, it would become printed out, the average of having all of the come into a single credit card. Look at that. A single credit card. A single monetary system. And then they won't have to carry around all the plastic. Doesn't that sound nice? We don't have to worry about all these cards. We just get one. See what they're doing? They always try to throw it onto the society, trying to make it sound like a good thing. But people that don't know anything about the New World Order, they're going to go along, right? Oh, it sounds like a good thing. But it's not. They're going for total control. And government is corrupt. As they say, absolute power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Now, I want to read this to you. This is just insane. Surveillance implants and televisions that watch you. So the next step would be the single card, and the next step would be to replace the single card with a skin implant. The single card could be lost or stolen, given rise to problems, could be exchanged with somebody else to confuse identity. The skin implant, on the other hand, could not be lost or counterfeited. Okay, but this was back then. Now with biometrics, it can't be counterfeited because your face is in the database. Whenever you put your finger on the finger reader, your face is going to show up and it's going to identify that you are the person. So it can't be counterfeited anymore. These people probably didn't know back then. I don't know. I'm just saying. Counterfeited identity. The skin implant, on the other hand, could not be lost or counterfeited or transferable to another person. So you and your account would be identified without any possibility of error. Doesn't that sound wonderful? So why don't we just all line up and take a chip? And the skin implant would have to be put someplace that would be convenient to the skin. For example, your right hand or your forehead. At that time, when I heard this, I was unfamiliar with the statement in the book of Revelation. The speaker went on to say, now some of you people who read the Bible will attach significance to this, to the Bible. But he went on to any biblical significance at all. This is just common sense of how the system could work and should work, and there is no need to read any speculations, biblical principles into it. As I said, at that time, I was not very familiar with the words of Revelation. So he's trying to say it has nothing to do with the book of Revelation, because the enemy does not want you to know his plans, but God has already put it down. Bible prophecy is pre-recorded history. It's history written down before it takes place. Now look at this. It just gets worse. Shortly after I became familiar with it, and the significance of what he said really was striking. I never forget it. There was some mention also of implants that would lead themselves into surveillance by providing radio signals. Oh, that could be RFID. This could be under the skin or a digital implant put in like a filing, so that either figures or possibility other citizens could be identified by a certain frequency from his personal transmitter, and could be located at any time or any place by any authority who wanted to find him. This would be practical, useful for somebody who broke out of prison. There was more discussion of personal surveillance, One more thing was said. You'll be watching television and somebody will be watching you at the same time at the central monitoring stations. Television sets would have a device to enable this. The TV set would not have to be on or in order for this to be operated. Also, the television set can be used to monitor what you are watching. People can tell what you're watching on TV and how you're reacting to what you're watching. And you would not know that you were being watched. While you were watching your television, how would we get people to accept these things into their homes? Well, people would buy them when they buy their own television. They won't know that they are being watched at first. This was described by being what we now know as capital TV to replace, it goes on and on. But smart TVs, all this stuff, people, even the computers, because there was an incident that happened in Pennsylvania. There was 2 teenage girls that brought the school laptops home, and after they came out bragging, oh, we were able to see the girls through the laptop. And because of that, they wanted to do a lawsuit against the school because the girls were freaking out. They told her mom, she's like, Mom, I always have my laptop on. And where do girls usually leave their laptops? In their bedroom. Even when they were getting changed, she left her laptop on. So these people are perverts in the government. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. It's just crazy. And here's another article about biometrics, because they're really moving fast, because this is exactly what they're going for, is biometrics. Look at this, Nigeria. Nigeria's going into biometrics. They're going everywhere. They're going absolutely everywhere, people. This is what people need to realize. The deal comes as increasing cases of money, landing, and other fraud. Yeah, other fraud. They always have to make it sound good, don't they? How slavery infected the Nigeria economy. According to CBN governor, and it goes, okay, let me try to find something here. This is not any way a lack of confidence in the government. Identity card progress. We will do this and will continue to work with the national identity card team when the time comes, but the central bank has to continue taking the lead in this matter, said the This Day report. Whatever happens to NIC, we will try to roll in what we have here, but we took a decision almost 2 years ago that it is not wise to continue waiting for the bigger project to happen, and we have it as where take our own. I don't want to read all this stuff. It's just, it goes on and on and on. Look at this. Bank of America looks to biometric ATMs and new patient applications. But anyways, many people out there know that this is coming down the line. So I just wanted to read this one here to you. They are going for depopulation, because that's what this video is all about, is depopulation. I just wanted to read you these articles about the New World Order. This is for real. This is what's taking place. Where, yeah, right here. Look at this. About depopulation. This is what they have to say. War and famine would not do instant disease efforts. The most effective and fastest way to kill the billions that must soon die. If the population crisis is to be solved, AIDS is not an effort killer because it is too slow. My favorite condition for eliminating 90% of the world's population is airborne Ebola restored, because it is both highly legible and it kills in days instead of years. We got airborne diseases with 90% mortality and humans killing humans. Think about that. You know, the bird flu, good too for everyone who survives. He will have to bury 9. This is just sickening. Totally disgusting. Just because you don't know you have cancer does not mean you don't have it. Simply because one is unaware of the depopulation quotes and interests of the world's most important leaders, institutions, does not mean that the plans are not being implemented. To do such a thing when so many influential leaders speak about the need to depopulate the world, we need to be paying attention to their actions for clues that the agenda is underway in order that we can best protect ourselves. Amen. Because these people are sick. Like I said before, Henry Kissinger, he penned in 1973 that we can use food as a weapon. And the guy that owns CNN is Ted Turner. He's the one that's calling for depopulation and a one-child policy. Now listen to this. The depopulation agenda is being organized in print by various global think tank groups as a means of destroying the plan in order to save it from the overuse, of false flags. Further, the depopulation agenda is being used as an excuse to protect this planet. The planet's inhabitations, just like global warming. That's a big hoax as well. Al Gore's the one that he's the one that said that he created the internet. Then after they found out that he didn't, he's making big bucks off of this global warming hoax. It's all about control. They can seize your private property. They can tell you what type of car you can drive. They can tell you what type of food you can eat, etc. It's all about control. That's all that it's about, is a new world order. We better do something quickly or else this world's going to blow up. Yeah, let's set up a global government and everybody's going to go into their agenda, plan what they already had planned in the first place. It's going to make people accept it. They create a panic environment. They create a crisis and they offer the solution. Okay. Inhabitants from a dwelling food source. That is one of the biggest lies being propagated upon the people. A growing population base is not causing the planet to run out of food. Here is a short video which exposes this. There's a video here below. But I can't send you guys that. Well, actually I could. Okay, I'll send it in my description box. Now listen to this from Henry Kissinger. New York Times are all advising for extreme depopulation. The only remaining question is how far are the global elite willing to go to carry out their depopulation goals. Now listen to this. This is a quote from Henry Kissinger. He's a member of the Bilderbergs. He's the one that put Henry Kissinger in office to bring in the New World Order, because they've been working at this New World Order for centuries. But he said that Obama's task is to develop an overall strategy for America and the world. He's like, because there's many crises going on in the world. We have the jihadist movement. We have what's going on in Pakistan, India, etc. But he says his real purpose is to create a new world order. It's not just a crisis, but it's a unique opportunity where really a new world order can be created. Well, they've been creating it for years. Now listen to what he had to say right here about depopulation. Depopulation should be the highest priority of foreign policy toward the third world. Henry Kissinger. Now, explain a postmodern era Agenda 21 depopulation efforts. In the 1970s, the Indian government, this is just disgusting, people, totally disgusting what I'm about to read to you. In the 1970s, the Indian government forcibly sterilized millions of women against their will. So they didn't have a choice. They sterilized them so they couldn't get pregnant. Totally disgusting. Against their will. Families in Malaysia, I don't know what this country, Indonesia, and elsewhere were forced to have fewer children in 1974. The United Nations organized its first World Population Conference to debate population control. China rolled out its infamous one-child policy in 1980, and this policy was reflected of the force of Planned Parenthood's Margaret Sanger when she said, listen to this, the most merciful thing that a family does to one of its infant members is to kill it. In the 1980s, the population crisis seemed to be over. The replacement population rate needed to maintain a population is 21 children per woman. And across the planet, that standard was basically maintained. However, there was one major exception, and that was in the sub-Saharan Africa. This is all lies, okay? Because you can go back to the book of Genesis in the Bible, the Word of God. God says clearly to be fruitful and to multiply. What does Satan want to do? The totally opposite. God says to multiply. Satan says to depopulate. God created man and woman. Satan says go with man and man, woman and woman. He does the totally reverse of what God says. The United Nations, which stands for United Nothing or United Unnecessary. Okay, United Nations population experts and the world population covered what is now described as the first Agenda 21 conference in 1994, in which an depopulation strategy was replaced by an agenda created on empowering women through unique employment opportunities, thus declining childbirth and lifting the birth rate. Also, the UN and world leaders exposed increasing access to birth control and abortion, thus killing unborn babies in fulfillment of Margaret Sanger expressed desire. Exactly what she said. You see that? And they said they were going to use abortion as well for population control in that article that I read you guys before. NWO Plans Exposed, 1969. These early dependent strategies are being even the source of abortion when compared to more black project agendas that were concluded at the same time. The problem with using viruses, birth control methods is that they are slow general progress, and the lack of quick progress does not give the elite what they need and want, which is to depopulate the world quickly. Keep your guns, people. I'm telling you, keep your guns. The government comes to your house, shoot them. Okay? Shoot them. I'm serious. Because there's coming another revolution to America very soon. That's why they say the answer to 1984 is 1776. And there was a revolution in 1776. It's crazy. Depopulation world quickly. For dramatic changes in population, a more radical agenda is needed. More deadly methods involving war, disease are preferable to members of the ruling elite who desire quick results, which are needed to save the planet from man-made climate change. Yeah, right. This is exactly what we are beginning to see. They're liars big time. Totally disgusting. Here's another one. Analysis of weaponized viruses. They use diseases as a weapon. And by the way, for those of you out there that are in the military, let me tell you something. What Henry Kissinger has to say about you. He said, military men are nothing but dumb, stupid animals used as pawns for foreign policy. Used as pawns. They create wars based upon lies. So you're their puppet ushering in the New World Order. That's what they're using you guys for. Has nothing to do with war. They're friends with Al-Qaeda. The United States government funded the Al-Qaeda. Bush was friends with the Bin Ladens. He gave them the weapons and everything, man. I can go on and on and on. During the same time frame, but buried behind the scene, HIV and Ebola appeared in the same region of Africa for the first time. ND at the same time. HIV swept across much of Africa, documenting a large sweep of the population. Some African communities had as many as 90% of the adults die from the disease in some villages and towns was the merely a coincidence with regard to the UN Agenda 21 population reduce policies being put into the place at the same time. The answer to this question is debatable. However, we are looking at a significant number of depopulation coincidences. So swallow at one time, there are still other coincidences which need to be brought out into the open. It's not a coincidence. It's planned, people, okay? Because they're sending vaccines overseas. They're taking out everybody. Watch, they're going to come out soon in America. The only way for you to be protected by this Ebola virus, take a vaccine shot. You know what's inside the vaccine shot? It's right in the Bilderberg documents. They say there's cancer viruses in the vaccine shots, squalene, mercury, everything. It messes up. It destroys your organs. This is all that they're doing. They're going to kill. They're going after people. Is it a coincidence that the first two American healthcare workers who have instructed Ebola are now inside the United States? Is it coincidence that the most deadly outbreak of the disease in history have apparently now killed nearly 900 Western Africans already this year, and the number is beginning to climb approximately? It is just a mere coincidence? I don't think so. It's all planned. It's all premeditated. That President Obama just signed an executive order to have the power to begin rolling up Americans, citizens, with rippling diseases against their will. Is it just a coincidence that the FEMA camp illustration got reduced of the homeless are beginning in Los Angeles country, as this could easily be covered to Ebola centers? By the way, the homeless people are not allowed to leave these finis once they are removed from the streets and checked in. They're going to start throwing people in the FEMA camps. That's why they're bringing martial law, all this stuff. Police state, they're militarizing the police. Like, there's just so much stuff. Perhaps the biggest coincidence, it's not a coincidence. The guy's just being characteristic, okay? It's all planned out. Oh, this is going to happen, boom, it happens. Well, obviously, the guy knew about it. They planned out 9/11. 9/11 was an inside job. So many things happen. So many things. And yet people are blind. Just like the Oklahoma bombing was planned. They have a book that was written in, what's the name of that book? The Final Jihad. In that book, it says that there's coming a terrorist attack to the city of Oklahoma, and that book was written 2 years before the city of Oklahoma explosion went off. Oh, but they said it was a terrorist attack. Yeah, it was a terrorist attack, all right. The United States government is terrorists. Obama is a terrorist. Bush is a terrorist. Bill Clinton is a terrorist. They all need to be charged for treason and thrown in prison. Anyways, let's continue. Perhaps the biggest coincidence has to do with the possibility that Ebola is coming into America through the unprecedented southern border. Yeah, and Obama was allowing people into the border. Perhaps the biggest coincidence has to do with the possibility that Ebola is coming into America through the unprecedented southern border. The prime suspects are an untold number of Western Africans, estimate at 10,000 or 100,000 century Americans streaming into the country, a drug country. These West Africans are from the 7-nation regime in West Africa, in which the live and conditional Ebola outbreak is presently taking place. This fact, compared with the DHS-ICE policy of shaping the recent larger immigration to every corner of the country, makes for a deadly current which could climate in the health crisis by Labor Day, given in fact that Ebola can reduce up to 21 days. Is this just another coincidence? If an Ebola outbreak does take hold in the United States, some like Dr. Ping and Henry Kissinger will apply the development as well. The Club of Rome, the Bilderbergs, and eventually New York Times. Here's a myth. Overpopulation is a myth. Yeah, there's another video, but I'm just going to share you guys the other one. I can't share all of the... Okay, here are 3 very short videos which clearly diminish how paralyzed the people of the planet are becoming. Paralyzed as to the dangers of overpopulation. Yeah, right. It's just crazy, man. Okay, here we go. The globalists' notion that they must reduce population in order to save humanity is a lie, based upon unproven facts, and should be considered to be nothing but an international deception. History clearly shows that if one world wants to reduce population, the best way to do so is through massive. Presently, the Italian brethren is 1.4, and the rate in the United States, the birthing is 1.8, which is far below the 21 standards needed to maintain a population. Both contrasts are symbols of the fact that in the studies, the birth rate. Okay, I'm going to pass all this stuff here. Here, I'm going to go to the conclusion here. Totally crazy. Okay, here we are. The globalists cannot introduce the rest of the world. Okay, the globalists cannot introduce the rest of the world because their main method for maintaining control over the planet would be in jeopardy. If most of the people on the planet were instructed, they would not only experience a higher standard of living, but an increased desire for freedom of expression, as the energy formerly spent on several would be focused on higher levels of needs. The globalists cannot allow humanity the opportunity to reach a high level of elimination and unawareness, because there would be nowhere the elite could hide for their crimes against humanity. It is my fear and recent belief that we are living in the age in which the current agenda of the elite will climax with the radical depopulation agenda, considering of Ebola attacks and World War III. World War III, yes. Forces mobilizing with regard of Ukraine. The world is in a very simple place, as it was in pre-World War I in Europe. Or World War I, wherever that was. Yeah, Europe. Okay. Awareness and being outspoken are our best weapons needed to declare this agenda. Therefore, if I would ask that you forward this article to as many people as possible, or at least write your own version of this content and distribute it widely. It strongly appears that pause 1. Depopulation through disease, as Dr. has advised, for his underway, and World War III is one small trigger event from occurring. The letter will be the topic of a future article. That's the end of this article, ladies and gentlemen. This is what's taking place, and people need to warn people like crazy. Okay. Actually, I'm going to see if I can post this article below with the other video. These elitists are sick people. Okay. These people are literally possessed by Satan himself. Even the World Health Organization is part of this. These people are possessed by the devil because they're saying, oh, they're killing off humanity. Who are they? Are they human beings too? Yeah, they are human beings, but they're possessed by the devil. They do not care. You see, they sterilize women so they can't get pregnant. They put stuff in the food because they say, We can't stop people from having sex, but because they always will have a sex drive. So we're not going to stop that. We'll just make it so they can't have babies. How do you like that? They want to destroy families. And what's the Bible say in John 10:10? The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's exactly what these people are doing. These people are scumbags, and we people got to stand up for our rights and for our freedoms, and we got to expose evil, as it says in the book of Ephesians. Rather expose them, and do not partake with their evil deeds. This is exactly what they're doing, people. They have a monument in the Georgia Guidestones that says to maintain humanity under 500 million. I wish that this was not happening, but it is happening. This is a reality that has taken place, and people need to wake up and stop saying, oh, my government would never do that to me. Well, you're not educated. You need to get educated in history and see what's taking place. Right before, they killed their own people. They confiscated the firearms, and then they killed them. Stalin did it. Mao did it. Hitler did it. And now Obama wants to do it. It's happening. It's happening again. And now they're causing all these diseases. They can use the chemtrails, dropping disease from the air. An invisible weapon that you cannot fight against. A disease. These people are sick. They have special medication that they inject them with. It protects them from it. And that's why they have underground bunkers, because they're not stupid. They know what's coming. Devastation is coming. So they have their own place. Because very soon, the, the Yellowstone volcano is going to erupt. And when that thing blows, it's going to affect a third of the United States. So many things are about to happen. And these people want to kill people. Do not take a vaccine shot. Whoever's listening to this. Stand up for your rights and never, ever, ever hand over your gun to the government. The government, all the way down through history, is responsible for killing its own people. I forget how many football stadiums they said they were able to fill with dead bodies. They killed a lot of people. They do not care about you. They are going for total control. And when the New World Order, in the CFR documents, they said, we're going to have a New World Order, even if we have to pay for it in blood. They don't care. They want to throw everybody in compact cities. That's why they want to downsize the population. This stuff is for real, people. People need to realize what's taking place here. This is for real. This is not a joke. Get it through your head that this is what's happening. You guys can go look at the quotes, the documents of what they're talking about, depopulation. Total control. Anyways, my job is just to tell you guys of what's taking place, and I suggest that you do your research so that you guys can see for yourself, wow, this is really taking place. This is what's going on. So this is all I got to say. I'm signing off, and God bless you all. God bless. And stay safe and be safe, and do not trust the government or anyone. You cannot trust them. In the times that we are living in, they're ushering in their New World Order. They're bringing it in, and it's just scary, everything that's taking place right now. So this is all I got to say, and God bless. But for us that are in Jesus Christ, we don't know how much longer we're going to be here. But we know before the New World Order gets up and running, before they set up that world dictator, which will be the Antichrist, we will not be here. Because he's the first seal that is unleashed. We will not be here for that. Once the restrainer is taken out of the way, then and only then can he be revealed. The church will not be present during this time. But we see the activities that the New World Order is doing right now. So we are so very close to what's taking place right now. The rapture could occur at any moment. So we're to be looking for Christ. Because this world is headed for judgment. We see it all. We put all the pieces together. It's right before us right now. And this is all I got to say. I'm signing off, and God bless you all.